temple during his visit there. Maharaj left his career immediately and joined the temple as a Brahmachari monk and was happy to join the Devi Sankirtan party. At the age of 22, Maharaj was chairman of the his first initiation of the Buddhist Prabhupada in London in summer 1971. Many of us are not even born that time. In 1994, Maharaj entered into the sannyas ashram and they started teaching his, sharing his philosophy of Bhakti Yoga. He interested in serious students in countries like Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, various countries in Middle East. Students to teach the philosophy at the time. The Chinese as well as the residents from Hong Kong, many years, the Chinese as well as the residents from Hong Kong, they were all many years ago, he also taught yoga science as university course in the Philippines, the primer to the topmost yoga system of yoga. Maharaj is an authority on the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and various other scriptures. Maharaj makes the ancient wisdom accessible, practical and relatable to everyone for all ages. And he has been a teaching faculty in the Manipur Institute of Higher Education in the history for more than 10 years now. His courses are well sought after by enthusiastic students as Maharaj makes teaching very accessible, practical and makes the students reflect on all the points that they can transform their life following the principles of Bhakti Yoga. During the COVID pandemic, Maharaj stayed in Manipur and conducted every day at least 3 to 4 classes over Zoom or online. And Maharaj also did the annual Navdi Panda Parikrama. This was before the Gaura Purnima. That's in 2020, Maharaj 30 years. I think this year I think about 35 years now. In Bhakti tradition, we do not normally, this is something which is very important for us. For all of us, these days, we tend to happy, but we have to always say Hari. So we welcome Maharaj and very warmly by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So one thing that I really appreciate, I'm very fond of Maharaj, hearing about Maharaj is that Maharaj is very, very personal. Maharaj is so very personal to everybody, and he is accessible, and anybody can go to him and talk to him. Maharaj Maharaj doubts and any personal related Maharaj is இது வந்து ரொம்ப அரிதான ஒரு விஷயம். ஏன்னா இந்த விஷயத்துல வந்து நம்ம ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியம். நம்ம ஒரு சீனியர் வைஷ்ணவருடைய அவருடைய சந்தத்தை எடுத்துட்டு அவருடைய அட்வைஸ் நம்மளுடைய லைஃப்பை லீட் பண்ணுறது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். மகாராஜ் வந்து ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு இன்ஃபேக்ட் மகாராஜ் வந்து நான் வந்து முந்தாவத்து ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ணுறது பேசிட்டு இருந்தேன். அவர் மகாராஜ் யாரும் செக்ரட்டரி பார்த்தா மகாராஜ் ப்ரோக்ராம் எல்லாரும் ஒரே சொன்னாங்க, டைரக்டா மகாராஜுக்கு வேலைங்க அந்த செக்ரட்டரி நம்ம வந்து யாரும் படிக்க முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ மகாராஜ் இஸ் ஸோ பர்சனல் அண்ட் ரொம்ப நாளாக வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். மகாராஜுக்கு வந்து நமக்கு எல்லாமே தரிசனம் நமக்கு நம்மளுடைய so Maharaj is very famous for his lectures. Please hear attentively and without questions on the and
I know Mataji that
you want to have some Maharaj, please come forward. Yes, is traveling all over, but still he is come specifically for very bad programs. இதுக்கப்புறம் ஈவினிங் வேறு ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் இருக்குது, அதுக்கப்புறம் நைட் மகாராஜ் கருமூலம் lot of and stop there.
So we're approaching the auspicious time of the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. And Nrsimhadev is counting on the big festival on the calendar. So we're going to speak today about Prahlad Maharaj. So there's a nice verse which probably all of you know. It is from chapter number 6 of the 7th canto. 7th canto is the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. And chapter number 6 is about Prahlad instructing his school friends. Right? Do you instruct your school friends? Anyway, we'll hear about Prahlad, what happened at his school. Right? Text number 1 of the first chapter. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Omara Acharet Pragno Dharmam Bhagavatam Durlabham Manushat Dharma Tadapyat Rupamatadam.
7, 6.
So Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body
7.
from the very
7.
beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of
7.
childhood, practice the
Prahlad Maharaj.
activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary, like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. I am not worthy, but on behalf of the acharyas, I accept. Myself, I am not worthy. Alright, so Prahlad Maharaj is in the Gurukula, but not the devotee Gurukula, the Asura Gurukulas. Right? The demons, the Gurukula for all the children of the demons. Right? Hiranyakashipu wanting to train his son to be a good demon. Right? They say like father, like son. Son should follow the father. So Hiranyakashipu, he was a great demon, very attached to gold, money. He liked money very much. And he liked to be comfortable in his life also. He liked to have sense gratification in all forms. Haranya means gold and Kashipu means, what is the meaning? Kashipu? Soft bed. Yes, right. So, today being Sunday, some people they'll be in their bed still, you know. You haven't got up yet. They're comfortable, rest in the bed. So Hiranyakashipu, he was like that. He very much liked money, and he liked also sleeping, and being on his bed. So that is, of course, that is not the devotional one. Money is the root of all evil. You get money and people don't know how to use it properly. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he's such a demon. He gets money, he wants to use it for material pleasure. So, Prahlad, he wanted his son Prahlad to be like him. Hiranyakashipu was very powerful. He conquered the heavenly planets, and all the demigods were serving him. Even Narada Muni was having to come and serve Hiranyakashipu. He was so powerful. He wanted to control like that. So, as an asura, as a demon, Hiranyakashipu was very careful about his enemies. Material life, the materialistic people, they make distinctions, friends and enemies. Right? Do you have friends? Do you have friends? And do you have enemies? No? All friends. Everyone is a friend. Very good. So, Hiranyakashipu, he was not like that. He made distinctions. Who is a friend and who is the enemy. In the Bhagavad Gita, we read about Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Right? There is the divine nature and there is the demoniac nature. So the divine nature, devotees, they try to do good for everyone, try to help everyone. If someone is in distress, they'll try to help them. And for people who are enjoying, they will try to enlighten them and encourage them to understand the mission of life. But those who are asuri sampat, those who are the demons, their mood is if somebody is against you or giving you difficulty, that you should do something about it. You should have him killed, or you should try to punish him in some way. That is the business of the asuras. They think how to deal with other people, those who are not their friends. Just like one way you can deal with people, you threaten them. You threaten them with a stick, or sometimes you punish them and tell them, if you don't cooperate, if you don't do what I want, I'll punish you more, and you'll be fined. And we see especially among politicians how they deal with each other. If somebody is opposed to their thinking, they have different political parties, and one party will compete with the other party. And so the leader of the other party, he will always be condemned by the party. Like that. Enemies, they'll try to find fault and point out corruption and unfair dealing, like that. They won't try to help each other. They will try to put the other side down, find fault with other people. So that is the way materialistic people work. So Hiranyakashipu, because he was very powerful, he was living in the heavenly planets and he was controlling all the demigods. So he has to deal with the demigods very carefully. He has to keep them under his control. And he wants Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad his son, to grow up to be like him. He wants him to know also how to deal with the enemy. So Hiranyakashipu put his son in the Gurukula. Gurukula, send the children to school, just like nowadays we have school. But in the past it was Gurukula. The child would go to the home of the Guru and stay with the Guru. Because if they stay at home with the mother, often they can get spoiled. But when they go to the Guru, stay in the Guru's ashram, then they grow up, they become stronger and more able to take care of themselves. It's a better education rather than being at home. Of course, there are difficulties. Prabhupada wanted very much that we would have Gurukula. He wanted the children to get that spiritual education. And one of the things which Prabhupada did was he began the Gurukula in Dallas, Texas. It didn't work out very well. There were problems. One of the problems was it was USA. It was not India. And people did not appreciate so many things which the devotees did. So anyway, finally, after difficulties in Dallas, Prabhupada said, move the school to India. And they took the school to Vrindavan. So Bhaktivedanta Gurukula was there in Vrindavan. Today, we still have a school there in Vrindavan. It's not quite the way it was in Prabhupada's time. But it's something, it's Bhaktivedanta school. They don't learn everything the way it used to be. It used to be the devotees, the children in the Gurukula were taught Sanskrit, and they were taught all the slokas, and they were taught how to be good devotees. But nowadays it's more basketball, some other Western sports, and they learn a little bit Sanskrit and a little sloka. But they learn a lot of other things. They take part in dance. But Prabhupada's idea was to train the children that they would go on and grow up to be full-time devotees. Just like in Mayapur we have 3 schools there. There is what is called Smith, S-M-I-S, Smith, in Sri Mayapur International School. Right? So they have the international school. Most of the children from the West and come from Assam, like that. And they have more westernized education. along with some devotional talent. So, and then we have also the Bhaktivedanta National School. We have a national school, which is more focused for the local people like Bengalis and so on, that they come. It's English medium, and then some children from all the neighborhood around Krishnanagar, Navadvip, they will come to our Bhaktivedanta National School. It's quite successful. There's many children coming there. But we have one other school, which is the Bhaktivedanta Traditional Gurukula, which is only for the boys, only for the young men, that they go there and they learn to worship the deities, to do the puja, and they learn cooking, and they learn cleanliness, and the philosophy also. So the Bhaktivedanta Traditional Gurukula is meant to train the children that then when they grow up, they will be the full-time devotees. Because they will learn, they know everything. They know all the instruments, they can play mridanga, they can lead the kirtan, they can give classes, they know the philosophy very well, and they know all the puja, and they do all the yagyas. They've learned all the yagyas, all the mantras and everything. So, they can become temple presidents easily. When they go to another country, they know everything very well. So they can be a temple president and they can run the temple. Of course, they don't know so much about management, dealing with devotees, but they can learn that. But they've had a good training in all the basic activities of devotees. So that kind of training, it's very helpful. If you get that in the beginning of life, then it's very much easier. If you come to Krishna consciousness later in life, then it's more difficult. Now Srila Prabhupada, of course Srila Prabhupada, he came to Krishna consciousness. He said he had already learned everything in his childhood from his own father. His father had him learn to play mridanga. Prabhupada could play mridanga very nice, better than any of the devotees. And Prabhupada could also play harmonium. He learned himself to play harmonium. And he even said, it's quite amusing, he said when he was a young man, many young girls wanted to marry him just because he was a good harmonium player. I don't think you make much income if you just play harmonium. I don't know how you'll support a family. Anyway, Prabhupada said like that. And he knew cooking. You know how Prabhupada learned to cook? He watched the people cooking in the street. And he saw how they cooked in the street. And this is how he learned cooking. But Prabhupada was a very good cook, very expert. And Prabhupada knew the philosophy. He knew deity worship. His own father used to worship deities every day. He dedicated the Krishna book to his father. And he said, my father was a pure devotee of Krishna. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, as a young boy, his father allowed him to do Rath Yatra and to worship deities as well. So he learned all of this as a young boy from his own father. But there was one thing he never learned from his father, right? You know, one thing he learned from his guru, not from his father. He learned writing and printing books. So that was something which Prabhupada took to, and it's very important to write on the Krishna conscious philosophy and to publish and print books. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's spiritual teacher, he did not worry very much about having a big temple. He worried more about printing books than distributing literature. He considered that to be more important than having big temples. And even it happened, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had one disciple who was a wealthy man, and he built a big temple in Bara Bazaar. Right? Have you been to Calcutta? Did you ever see the temple there in Bag Bazaar?
Yes.
In Bag Bazaar, the temple is the Gaudiya Math temple. It's very beautiful, very nice, marble and everything. And it's still there from the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, about 100 years old, you know. But it's a beautiful building. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said, better we sell the marble and print books. Because what happened was, when they had the nice temple, then the devotees were all saying, I will have this room, or this will be my room, I will stay here. They were all thinking how they will be comfortable in the temple. So temple is not meant for just eating and sleeping, right? Temple is meant to be a base for the army to go out and fight Maya. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said about this temple in Bag Bazaar, although it was a nice building, very beautiful, they made nice arrangement for the deity, he said it would be better to sell the marble on the altar and print books, because devotees will just become lazy. They'll just want to be in the temple. They won't want to go out for the preaching work, to go out and meet the people. So the Gurukula was meant for training up children, that they will grow up strong devotees, fixed in the Krishna conscious philosophy. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had a large family, I think 11 children. And he trained all of his children to be devotees. If your child doesn't become a devotee, then his life is wasted. What is the good of having a child who is not a devotee? The father thinks, my son, better mudra than putra. Right? Better I passed urine than had a son. Because my son doesn't worry about Krishna consciousness. He doesn't take an interest in devotional activities. So it's a waste. Prabhupada said, when husband and wife want to have a child, they should think, this child, this will be their last birth. They should never take birth again. This will be their last birth. So, like that, Prabhupada said, don't become a mother and father unless you can deliver your child from birth and death. And so that means your child has to become a pure devotee and go back to Godhead. Son is called Putra. Putra means one who saves the father from going to hell. Put is one of the hellish planets. So the duty of a son is to liberate their father from birth and death. But Hiranyakashipu, he's a materialistic demon. He doesn't think like that. He thinks the duty of my son is to be like me, and to be a materialist, and to be, to give trouble to other people. Prahlad Maharaj would tell his father, he would say, Father, we should see everyone equally. But Hiranyakashipu said, no. We have to see friend and enemy. Those who are friends, okay. And those who are enemies, we will deal with them. How will we deal with the enemy? We will have to punish them, threaten them. Right? Someone's the enemy, you have to take steps to control them. Just like if you're in politics, maybe they'll put you in jail. Right? They can put you in, if they cannot control you, if they cannot stop you from speaking, then they'll lock you away in jail. And sometimes they'll even kill. They'll even kill the enemy. We know assassinations take place, murder. Someone is the enemy, we will have them killed. So that is the demon. They will control the enemy like that. If they cannot keep them quiet, they will have them killed. Prahlad Maharaj was supposed to learn to do all of this. So they had the Gurukula. There were the two teachers, Sanda and Amarka. And they are the sons of Shukracharya. Shukracharya is the guru of the demon. Shukra means semen. That semen, that from the man's body, that semen is produced. So Shukracharya, he was an acharya based on the birth, not so much the qualification. By the name, we understand that. Shukracharya, he was powerful. He had a lot of power. He could do things like Bali Maharaj. It said Bali Maharaj at one point, he had been killed when they were fighting the demigods. Bali Maharaj had been killed, but Shukracharya brought him back to life. Shukracharya was so powerful, he could bring him back to life. So, Shukracharya was the guru, and his two sons, Sanda and Amarka, they are following their father. Shukracharya, the guru of the demons, and Sanda and Amarka, they are the two sons of Shukracharya, and they are also becoming gurus of the demons' children. The demons' children all come to the one school. They all associate together. The idea is keep those, what we say, birds of a feather flock together. Just like you see the crow is with the other crows, and the swan is with the swans, and the parrots are with the other parrots. So the same way, the demons they like to be with other demons. So the children of the Asuras, they're together. They like to be with each other because they share the same nature. So Prahlad Maharaj, because his father was Hiranyakashipu, he had to also be with the other demons. He had to associate with them, with all the children of the demons. But Prahlad was different from them. The children of the demons, they were wasting their time doing cricket, playing with the ball, running around. Of course, they have the mobile phone and they play the game on the mobile phone. And this way they do so many stupid things, right? So the children of the demons, they were all doing this. But Prahlad, he wouldn't do that. Because Prahlad was a devotee. So the other children, they were surprised. They said, why is it, Prahlad? They said, why don't you play with us? All the other children, they were playing with each other. So they said, why don't you play with us? But Prahlad said, no, I'm not going to play with you. Prahlad said, I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to play all your stupid games. I'm going to be a devotee. I don't want to play with you. So then the children of the other demons, they asked Prahlad, please tell us why you don't want to play with us. So Prahlad is telling how first you have to understand you have the human body. Kumari Acharit Pragno, right? Kumar is the boy. Kumari, the girl, young girl, right? What age? 5 years old. What age are you? Nine? Yeah. So, Prahlad is only 5, but he knows, I don't want to be a demon. I want to be a devotee. I want to make use of the human body for self-realization. Komar acharet pragno dharmam bhagavatam iha. I want to use the body to understand about the Supreme Lord and my relationship with Him. I don't want to waste this human life because the human body is very rare to achieve. We're very fortunate. Of course, sometimes when you're in a big city like Chennai, you think, oh, so many people here, not so special. But actually, we're very fortunate to have the human body. And the human body is meant for self-realization, to understand our real self, not to be blinded by the material energy. So Prahlad Maharaj is explaining to his classmates, his people who are there in the same school, because they're all the sons of the demon. And Prahlad, he's also the son of a demon. But there's a difference, right? There's a difference. What is the difference? Prahlad had the opportunity to hear from the devotee. When he was in the womb of his mother, he had gone to the ashram of Narada Muni. And he had heard from Narada Muni. Even though he had not taken his birth yet, he was still in the womb. But he was hearing about Krishna. And he was hearing about making use of the human life. So he became very serious. So his father, he doesn't know this. And his father wants him to be a good materialist. Just like many of us, when we became devotees, mother and father will say, oh, why don't you just get a job like everybody else? Why don't you just be like everybody else and get a job and work hard and make some money? And, you know, the mother and father, materialists or not devotees, they will say to the children, why you want to go and sing and dance Hare Krishna all day? Why don't you just be a good materialist and work in the office, make some money like this? They will tell you. The mother and father, they don't want you to become a devotee. They say you can be a devotee, but you should work. You should be like everybody else. Go to the office, sit in the office all day. Don't go to temple all day. Don't sit in the temple. Better you go to work, get the job. So mother and father, they will tell the children like this. They don't waste. They think it's a waste to chant Hare Krishna. They do not understand the spiritual benefit of chanting the holy name. So we try to convince them. Of course, it's not very easy. Just like Prahlad, his father was always complaining to Prahlad, why you do all this? Why are you worshipping this God? Who is this God? Where is he? You never see him like this. But Prahlad never lost faith in Krishna. And even though his father was trying to kill him, Prahlad tolerated. He didn't pray to Krishna to protect him. He didn't worry about the situation, but he just only remembered Krishna. He didn't pray to Krishna, help me, but he remembered Krishna. And because he remembered Krishna, so no harm came to him. So we have to understand the special situation of Prahlad Maharaj. To be in the Gurukula with so many non-devotees, not very good. We like to be with the devotees. In fact, we tell people, better leave that job and just be with the devotees. Why you have to be with all the karmis, all the meat eaters, all the people who are just trying to enjoy the senses? They're bad association, right? What is the nature of a devotee? We say, in Chaitanya Charitamrita was asked, they asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how to recognize a devotee. And Lord Chaitanya said, Asat Sangatya E Vaishnav Ancha. Right? Sri Sangha Ekasadu Krishna Bhaktiha. So Mahaprabhu described immediately the nature of a devotee is Asat Sangatiya. He gives up the association with the asat. Asat means the temporary, the material. A devotee of Krishna is not very eager to associate with asat things. And we don't like to associate with the people who are attached to the asat. There are people who are very fond of materialistic life, like Hiranyakashipu, and like Shishupala, Jarasandha, Kamsa. You know, they're the big demons. But there are many small demons. They also want to enjoy the material world. They don't want Krishna consciousness. What do they want? They're happy. Antyahara nidra bhaya mechuna. Eating, sleeping, mating, depending. And the materialist thinks if he has a nice place to sleep and he has a nice meal every day, he's happy. I have every day, I'm happy. That's foolishness. Of course, material life is temporary, finished very quickly. Then where do you go? Now you have the human body. Where are you going in the future? Did you read the book, Alice in Wonderland? Did you read that book? No? You didn't go to the Wonderland yet? So Alice, she went into the Wonderland. She's a young girl. And she went into the Wonderland. And so she said, where do I go from here? So they said to her, where do you want to go? And she said, well, I don't really know. So then they said, well, it doesn't matter which way you go. If you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which way you go. And you can go that way or you go that way, it doesn't matter. You don't care where you're going, you don't know where you're going. So you can go left, you can go right, you can go straight on. It doesn't make any difference. Because you don't know where you want to go. We should know where we want to go. Right? Where do you want to go? Do you know? Where do you want to go? Go back to school, right? Really? Want to go to Krishna? Yes, we have to know where we want to go. We have to be very positive. I want to go to Krishna. I want to go back to Godhead. I want to go and be with Krishna. Very important. So Prahlad Maharaj, he had that mood. He just wanted Krishna consciousness. He didn't want to waste his time like the other children. Play with balls, running around, playing with the ball, watching movies. Prahlad Maharaj just wanted devotional service. He wanted to hear about Krishna. And he wanted to chant also the glories of Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj is remembered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had one devotee. His name was Vasudev Datta. So this Vasudev Datta, he came to Lord Chaitanya one day. And he said to Lord Chaitanya, he said, I want to take the sins of all the people here, and I will stay here and suffer. let them go back to Krishna.
கொஞ்சம் எல்லாரும் முன்னாடி வந்தீங்கன்னா பின்னாடி வரவங்கலாம் பேசணும். நிறைய இடம் முன்னாடி முன்னாடி வாங்க. நீங்களும் வந்துடுங்க, என்ன வரவேற்ற வழி தடமா முன்னாடி வந்து.
Okay. So Vasudevadatta, he came to Lord Chaitanya and he said, I want to take the sin for all the sinful people and I will stay here and suffer. Let them all go back to Godhead. Isn't that nice? Would you like to do that? Are you ready to take the sins of all the people? Not only all the people, all the living entities. Right? And stay here in the material world and suffer. And let them go. Lord Chaitanya said, oh, very nice. That's very great. Lord Chaitanya appreciated. Oh, you have a very kind heart. Right? Are you kind-hearted? You like to take the sins? Sometimes, I remember Jayapataka Swami was giving somebody initiation and he asked the other person, are you going to recommend this person? And he said, if you recommend him, you have to take half the karma. And oh, no. You know, they didn't want to recommend. If they thought, oh, I have to take one person's karma, half of their karma, one person. No. They didn't want to. But Vasudevadatta was ready to take all the sins of all the living entities and stay in suffer. So nice, right? Prahlad Maharaj is like that. He cares about other people. Prahlad said, I'm not worried about myself. He said, wherever I go, I can chant and remember Krishna. But I'm worried about all the other people who don't remember Krishna, who are not thinking of Krishna, who have forgotten Krishna. I'm worried about them. So, Prahlad Maharaj said like that. He said there are people, they go to the mountains, they go away from the world. They're only thinking about their own deliverance. But Prahlad Maharaj said, I'm not going away from the world. I will go and stay in the cities. I will go to Chennai and I will be in Chennai and go around Chennai and preach the holy name to all the materialistic people and bring them to Krishna consciousness. Right? This is Prahlad Maharaj's mood. I don't care about myself. I'm not going to go away to the mountains or live in the forest to be away from the world. I'm going to go in the hellish places like Chennai, big cities, horrible places with so much traffic, so many people, and I'm going to try to preach Krishna consciousness to all the people there. Oh, that's very great, very good. We need people like that who are ready to sacrifice for other people. Just like there was one great king, his name was Rantidev. Did you hear the name? Rantidev? Yeah? You know Rantidev? He was a great king. He had a family, and sometimes he and his family, they would fast. And they would do full fasting, not even drinking water For many days they would go without food and water. So then it happened, after Ranti Dev and his family had all been fasting, they prepared some food, nice food, made with ghee and everything very nice. But before they could eat, a Brahmana came. And the Brahmana came to their home, and the Brahmana said, I'm very hungry, I have not taken any food. So Maharaj Rantidev said, here is food, you can take this food. So the Brahmana ate half of the food. So half of the food was left. But after the Brahmana left, then a Sudra came. Sudra means the working class, the laborer. So Sudra came to their home and said, oh, I'm so hungry, I have not had any food today. Do you have any food? So Maharaj Rantidev said, yes, look, take whatever you... And so the Sudra, he took the food that was left. And after some time, then a Malacha came with some dogs. And he said, do you have any water? Here's the water. Rantidev said, I have water. There was only water. There was no food left. But there was a glass of water. So Maharaj Rantidev and his family, they were thinking, we will drink the water. But then the Yavana came with the dogs. And Maharaj Rantidev said, yes, you take the water. And the dogs, they finished all the water. And Rantidev said, this is my joy, to make other people happy, to save them from suffering. This makes me happy. He said, I don't care about my own self, but I only care to see other people. I don't want them to suffer. So this is the mood. Prahlad Maharaj, he's like that. He's only thinking about others, to save others, help other people to have a better life. So Prahlad Maharaj, he is the Vaishnava. He is the devotee. He worships the Lord. He worships Lord Narasimha. Actually, he worships Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu comes in many different forms. Narasimha is one form of Lord Vishnu. And Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee of Lord Vishnu. But he's a devotee. As a devotee, his mood is to serve it, to do service, to give service, not to take service, but he wants to give service. This is the special nature of Prahlad Maharaj. Even though he is the son of a king and his father is very rich and powerful, but Prahlad just wants to worship the Lord. He doesn't care, my father's a rich man, or my father's a big man. No, his only thinking, Prahlad's only thinking is devotion, devotional service, which means Shravanam, Kirtan Vishnu, hearing and chanting and remembering Lord Vishnu. So Prahlad Maharaj teaches us all of these important points, to care about others and not to care about our own self. Because if we're thinking of others, then that's much better than just thinking about our own self. If we think about others, we can be saved from all kinds of difficulties. So Prahlad Maharaj, such a wonderful devotee. So we are hearing about his activity and its wonderful pastime. How he could be in the Gurukula with all the demon boys, but he could still be Krishna conscious. He didn't forget Krishna. Even though he's associating with all the non-devotees, he's always remembering Krishna. So we have to learn from Prahlad Maharaj. Right? Any question? They're very difficult, right? How do we inspire the next generation to take up Krishna consciousness? Well, one thing is important is our own example. That if we are not enthusiastic and inspired to be Krishna conscious, then we cannot expect other people to become Krishna conscious. But if we are enthusiastic and inspired, then they can also become inspired. Our own example. Example speaks louder than words. You know, you tell people, you should be a devotee, you should chant Hare Krishna, you should be devotee. But if I'm not devotee, then how I can tell them? So, we have to show the people. Just like Srila Prabhupada. Because Srila Prabhupada was such a great example of Krishna consciousness, so he inspired so many other people to be Krishna conscious. So seeing that living example of the devotee is very important for us. Seeing the courage and the sacrifice and the dedication which he made was very inspiring. That, oh, he's a very great personality. He's given everything for Krishna. So that's very helpful to see the good example. Prabhupada went to the West, he didn't take any money. He didn't have any big buildings or anything, but he could attract so many people by his spiritual potency, by his character, and by his complete surrender to Krishna. So we do worry about how to inspire the youth, how to get the younger generation to take up Krishna consciousness. It takes time. Of course, we are having nice big temple, beautiful big temple. But if the children don't become devotees, then eventually the temple may be empty. Maybe nobody there. And they build a big temple, and if people don't become Krishna conscious, maybe nobody will come. We don't want that. No, we have to fill up the temple with the devotees. And we have to encourage the devotees in their preaching. We have to encourage people that you have to bring your family, you have to make your family Krishna conscious. Not only you, but your family. We want all your family to become also devotees. So it may take some time, but gradually it can happen.
In the presently condition, the material is life for the children if we give them only devotion and they didn't get any materialistic education, their life will be very miserable, difficult if it comes.
Oh, you're saying material education is necessary. Huh?
It is also necessary.
Well, it's not absolutely necessary. You know, so many children go to school, they don't want the education anyway. It doesn't inspire them, it doesn't interest them, it doesn't attract them. So many children, they feel it's just a waste of time to go to school, the things they teach in the schools today. That it's not worth studying all these things. What do they learn? You learn some technology. After some time, that technology goes out of date. You know, computer programming. Then after some time, you have a new language or a new system. So many things change. History, you learn history. When people say this history is not true, it's all garbage. You know? Sometimes they teach you things it's supposed to be history, but they make it all up. They write the history books themselves. It's not true. Many of the things they teach you in the history. So, you see also different theories, they go out of date. They go out of date in course of time. You learn, for example, what's it? The evolution, right? Whose theory of evolution? Darwin, Charles Darwin. He had a theory of evolution. And children have to learn these things, right? Where did you come from? You come from the apes, right? So your ancestors were all the apes. So they teach these kind of things. Even in the Christian school, they teach this kind of thing. And they teach everything came about from chemicals. And where did the light come from? The Big Bang. And from the Big Bang, every Chennai came about. Right? You have the big city, Chennai. How did it come about? One night there was the Big Bang, and we woke up in the morning, and there it was, Chennai, Haribo. So, they teach this kind of things in the school. Life comes from, we come from the apes, and everything comes from chemicals. They teach all rubbish, nonsense. It's not true. And then they have so many theories. They have corpuscular theory, and then they have the wave theory, and then they have the atomic theory, Einstein's atomic theory, different level. And still they cannot explain the nature of life. They're trying to give theory. Prabhupada said, theory. There is no proof, but they're just trying to give a theory. They're trying to say. So people, they go and they learn all these things, and then after some time they realize it's not true, that there's no evidence to support it. The things we learned at school, they don't teach today. It's all very different things. It goes out of date. The things the children are learning today, tomorrow they won't teach. And the whole system of education changes. So what is the value of this material education? People think, you spend so much money, sometimes go to a good school to get the education, study to get into the good college, you want to get into IIT or something, you have to study so much. But we have some wonderful devotees who also studied IIT. They give it up and they come to Krishna consciousness. And they feel the real education is in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada described the modern education, the universities, he said they're like a slaughterhouse. They simply destroy the good qualities. But you don't develop the good character by going to the university. Rather, you learn all the bad habits. When I was at the university, they would have, every Friday, they would have a beer drinking contest. And the people who would win the competition was usually the medical students. Who could drink the most beer. You know, that was the education in the university. So, material education, it has its problem. We feel the real education should be spiritual education. Let people hear spiritual knowledge. Hear about the purpose of life, the goal of life, and learn how to control the mind and the senses. Just simply working in the material, studying material knowledge, it's all wasted, all useless information. Yes?
I have a question. How do we, can you give some instructions to all of us, how to be enthusiastic in Krishna conscious in all the time? Because being in a family, you are not able to in Krishna conscious all the time. There are many disturbances. No? Then at that time, how to divert our mind or how to be enthusiastic at all the time? Can you please guide me?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, well, you know, we have 12 acharyas, or teachers, who are described as Maharajas. They are the authorities on devotional service. There are 12 names mentioned, and of the 12 names, 7 of them are in family life. So, many of them are in family life. Although they're in family life, they are authorities in the path of devotion. The names are Swayambhu Narada Shambhu. Swayambhu Brahma. Brahma was a Grihastha. And then Narada was a Brahmachari. And Shambhu, Lord Shiva, he's a Grihastha. The Swayambhu Narada Shambhu. Kumar, Kapila, Manu. Kumar and Kapila are both brahmacharis, and Manu is a grihastha. Then Prahlada, Janaka, and Bhishma. Prahlad and Janaka Maharaj, they're both grihasthas, and Bhishma was a brahmachari. And then Balir, Vyasaki, Vyam. Bali Maharaj and Vyasaki, Sukadeva Goswami, and Yamaraj. So Sukadeva Goswami is a brahmachari, and Bali Maharaj and Yamaraj, they are grihasthas. So you see, we have also in our line the siblings of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a grihastha, and he had a big family. He didn't have 1 or 2 children, he had 11 children. But he was a very great devotee. And he said, he has written a song, and he said, Yetina grehe bhajana dege greheti golokabaya. He said, when I worship my deity at home, then my home becomes Goloka. So in your home, you should have a deity of Krishna. And you should have a temple. And you should worship the deity every day. Just like here, we see deity Radha Krishna, Gaurnitai, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, all there. So you can have deities like that at home, and you can worship them, and it will help you to also feel that your home is Goloka. Now, how to be Krishna conscious all the time? Well, you have to, wherever the mind wanders, you have to bring it back. It's a question of controlling the mind. You have to be ready to pull the mind back. Yes, sometimes there will be things you have to attend to. Just like all of us as devotees. So we may have different issues. Sometimes you have to take care of your health. Sometimes you have to go to the school. Sometimes you have to go to college. Sometimes you have to go and meet other people who are not devotees. Sometimes you have to deal with the neighbors and so on. Many different things will come up. But we can do them all in Krishna consciousness. All that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities, do them as an offering unto me. So that is karma yoga. You see, bhakti yoga is hearing and chanting. You know, we do our japa, we do kirtan, we read Srimad Bhagavatam. But you can do karma yoga. If you cannot do bhakti yoga, you can do karma yoga. The idea of karma yoga is you offer the result of your work to Krishna. Maybe you have to go to work, you have a job. So you give the result of your work to Krishna. You give some portion of your income for the service of God. That is karma yoga, working on His behalf. Sometimes you have to clean the house. You do it for Krishna. You do it in the morning. I am doing this for Krishna. So this is karma yoga. And karma yoga is very close to bhakti yoga. You do more karma yoga, then one day you'll come to bhakti yoga. Right? Okay.
Please avoid your association with police stations.
Well, I was a very young man when I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, and I was very new. I didn't know anything. So I did not try to say very much around Srila Prabhupada. I would try to hear from him. Generally, that's what we did. Prabhupada would speak and we would hear. See, because Prabhupada, he was, he was already 70 plus when he came to the West. So I was 20, 21. So I was very young, and I knew, I didn't know the culture, and Prabhupada had been brought up in the culture his whole life. So there was a huge gap between him and me. So, what can I say to Prabhupada? Well, I would just try to hear and try to serve. Whatever service I could do, I would do for Prabhupada. So that was my motive. Okay.
When we talk to the generation, they are more into the social media, their approach to the communication is much different from the previous generations. So how do we stay relevant to them when we are talking to them? Because there's a lot of other material distractions out there in the form of fame, audition, and all those things are also burdened with it. And they get something. The second problem that they have is very less. Attentiveness is gone. They can't focus on the classes, they cannot sit and hear for a long time. There's a lot of attentiveness is not there. How do we help them to come Krishna consciousness? How do we increase the intensity?
Well, we have to be patient with them. I think that's very important. Now, in Prabhupada's time, it wasn't really much different. Prabhupada saw also that we were also not very attentive, and we were not able to give so much attention. But still, Prabhupada continued with his duty. He continued talking and preaching. And he knew that in the future, gradually, that everything is said will be recorded and we can take advantage of it. So Prabhupada faced similar difficulties. You just have to be patient and tolerant and at the same time enthusiastic. That enthusiasm, very important. Sometimes patience, that's not so important. No, you can be too patient. You tell people, Prabhu, you should chant 16 rounds. They say, I'm chanting 1 round, just be patient. 10 years later, Prabhu, you should try to chant 16 rounds. Well, I'm chanting 1 round, and maybe some days I do 2 rounds. Just be patient, Patience, sometimes it doesn't do you any good. So how much patient you can be. But the idea is, we want to get Krishna consciousness, and we do our best to encourage everyone. And we try to be determined. And Krishna helps. We cannot expect that everyone will take to Krishna consciousness. But gradually, another thing is that younger people generally want education. Just like in Srila Prabhupada's time, they asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, why is it you have so many young people joining your movement? They asked Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada told them, because he said that is the time for education. When you go to colleges, it's young people who are there studying, you see. So that is the time for education. And Prabhupada, our Krishna consciousness movement is for education, to give people the education they need to understand the value of life. So like that, young people can also be attracted. Not everybody, but, and we try to give benefit to everyone. Let them hear. Even they cannot take up Krishna consciousness, let them hear. Our duty is to give the knowledge, pass on the information. They may not accept, that's their problem. But we keep trying, we keep going on, we don't give up. Well, to some extent, yes, you have to have a little discipline with the children. You can't, they say from the up to 5, they're free, they can do what they, but between 5 up to 15, then there has to be more control, discipline. That's the Vedic style. That between the age of, once they get to 15, then they're already grown up. Then you have to, okay, up to you, whichever way you want to go. They have to become like a friend when they come to 15. But between 5 and 15, you have to have some discipline to regulate them, to control them. And try to encourage them some children will be easier than for others. But we try.
Current generation, what the culture of the people. When we are in a family, our parents have taught this one. Study well, go to school, get good rank, then go to college, study well. Then you will get a better job. After getting the job, sometimes they feel insecure due to uncertainties, due to layoff, so many things. And also, when you start educating, you have to buy a house, you have to buy a car. This is what we are taught. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, we get the faith of the God. We learn a lot of knowledge, everything. So this is an opportunity for the younger generation to come here, but that is not happening in the material world. We are attracted by the foot of Maya. Only if we have money, we get respect. Those kind of things are happening in the current environment.
Well, not everyone is the same. Certainly, a lot of people are attracted just to the material things. But there are others who are looking, who want something else, who are not so much bewildered by the material energy. So they're looking for some alternative. They want to find out some better life. They want to see some alternative to that material. So we have to find out these people. They're the ordinary people. They just think about, as you say, buy a house, get a job, have a car, right? That's not the goal of life. People can be of the lowest character and have all these things. We want people to develop their character, a matter of character, culture. That is real education. But if people have no character, if they're unscrupulous, if they're all debauchees, men of the lowest standard, then, yeah, it's unfortunate. They're victims of the Kali Yuga. And they should regret. We preach, we try to awaken people to see these faults and to see these problems and to see that Krishna consciousness is the solution to the problem. It can change the life of people. Just like myself, I'm from the Western country. I'm the very West. I was brought up in a Western society, and initially I was very ambitious. You know, I wanted to be a great scientist and so on, working and studying, and you know. But eventually, I saw the kind of people who are the so-called scientists and the professors and so on. I was so disappointed by their characters, standards. You know, you go to one of the professors' rooms and it's all cigarette butts everywhere, you know, there's cigarette everywhere, paper everywhere, you know. The office was a total mess, it was very dirty. So, what kind of character is this? I just wanted to see some examples, people who could inspire me, something that they could do something good for the world. But I didn't see too much of that example. I didn't see it very common, very, very rare that you found anybody who's thinking about others. They're only thinking about themselves, just to get money. So, when you see a good example, just like in Calcutta, Mother Teresa was there, and she did welfare work, of course, material welfare work, but even today it inspires people. They come from many parts of the world, and they come there to Calcutta to work there in her institution and just try to do some good for the unfortunate. So that's material sort of welfare work. Krishna consciousness is the spiritual welfare work, bringing people to a higher consciousness, not just filling the belly, not just putting food in the belly. Yes. Right? You put food in the belly, they need more food tomorrow, right? It's not enough just to feed people one day. So, but if you give someone Krishna consciousness, then that knowledge, that can take them for their whole life, can change their whole life.
And also people undergo a lot of pressure because what technology we learn, we don't apply in our working class. So even if you are 40, 50 age, you have to keep on learning to survive in the market. That is forcing us to concentrate on the meticulous safety. And in the meanwhile, we cannot keep chanting of 16 rounds. These are things which are troubling us in the material world. If we don't do it, there is another person saying, I will do it. So they have many resources. So people under Krishna conscious also, we cannot divide that time and participate more in this session. What I am doing is, Saturday and Sunday I dedicate for Krishna consciousness. Monday to Friday I concentrate on materialistic work, where I do work. And that too, nowadays the timings are not 9 to 5. We work in shift, everything. So a lot of disturbances to insecurity is the most important word I want to respect. This is what is affecting many youngsters nowadays.
Definitely, it is true that you work in the corporate world, you're insecure. There's no security there in your jobs today. The technology changes very fast, and you can be redundant. We have so many software programmers today, but at any time the technology can all change, and they can all be out of a job, and they have to learn a whole new program, a whole new occupation. And these things they happen all the time. They happen all the time. Just like in the printing industry, they used to use letterpress, and then they came in with the technology, computerized technology for letter printing, and totally changed the whole industry. And so many people who were in the letterpress, all redundant, no job, they're all out of work. They have to look again, find a new job, start a new career. So these things happen all the time. Technology changes. We are never secure anywhere in the material world. We say, padam padam that vipidam natesham. There's danger in every step. Anytime the earth may have earthquake and the whole place will open up, we're all swallowed. There's no security here. We're
The Lord can give the Abhaya. The Abhaya can be put one way, not for the others.
yeah, once we
Then all your Abhaya. They are for the family. That's it.
we have to become Krishna conscious. Then only we can overcome that insecurity. That sense of fear is there for everyone. So certainly people feel very insecure. If you lived in the USA, people are more insecure. Very unsafe country. You can't go out at night.
Friday or Friday. That's what comes to it. The welfare class, the lifestyle, the life, everything is
Yeah. Friday na payita shelter, Colobus, Niligatana, Manda sa Manda Matayo, Manda Bhakti. Right? Kali Yuga, the people in the Kali Yuga have a short life. Short life. You know, other yugas they live long time. Kali Yuga, oh, if you live 70 years, yeah, that's good. You know, you had a good life. 70, the Bible said, 70 and 10. 1 means 20, so 70 means 60, and 10 more means 70. So in the Bible, they say that the average life is 70 years. So it's already past 70 years. Now is the bonus, you know. We're in the extra time. Any time insecurity we can lose. So you have to be ready. How to get ready? We must take shelter of Krishna. Maharaj Kulashekar says, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantam Yaiva Me Vishatu Manasara Jahamsa Prana Prana Kapaye Kapabanta Pitaye Gandhavaro Dhanavido Smaranam. Maharaj Kulashekar, the Alwar, very great devotee, right? Where's he from? Kerala, Mantrivandram, right? Huh? And then, so he said, let me die now while I can chant the name of Krishna. Because if I have to wait till I'm old, my throat may be choked up with mucus and I won't be able to chant very good. So better I die now while the swan of my mind is entangled in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Right? Manasa Raja Hamsa, the swan. Swan has a long neck. So they play with the lotus flower. And the lotus flower gets wrapped around the neck of the swan. So Maharaj Kulashekar, he's praying, let me die now while I'm able to chant the holy name and my mind is absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna. He said, but if I have to wait for old age, maybe I'm on the bed and I'm helpless, I won't be able to chant. But so he said, let me die now. It's very great devotee. So many people South India, they like that sloka. They remember this verse. You should also think to chant. You have to chant. Take shelter of the holy name. Will protect us from all the danger, all the insecurity. The only shelter, the holy name of Lord Krishna. Yes?
Some devotees are always residing in Dham itself. Some devotees are frequently going and coming, traveling their way to Dham. I have been to Dham only once after a long years, after my long but I want to reside in Dham. Being my disturbances regarding my health and family and my finance, everything I want to reside in Dham. I want to leave this material body in Dham. Can I go to Krishna when I leave this body in Dham? Also, another question is that if I have been to Dham only once in these 12 to 14 years. I'm trying to visit, but I'm not able to go due to my health condition. Is it that I have done any offense to Dham in previous life, Maharaj?
So Mataji is saying about going to the Dham. If she goes there and lives in the Dham, will she go to Krishna? Well, you don't go to the Dham just by buying a ticket to go there. You have to change the consciousness. You go and live in the Holy Land. If you go to the Holy Land, there are people living in the Dham, but they're not really living in the Dham because, maybe they don't chant and they don't do any spiritual activities, hardly they go to temple. They're living in the Dham, but they don't take advantage to be Krishna conscious. So living in the Dham is meant to help you to be a devotee and to be fixed on Krishna. Because in the Dham, there's temples, and every day you can go and see the deity, and you can hear the Katha, and you can see all the devotees. Regularly, everywhere there are devotees in the Dham. So being in the Dham can help us to become Krishna conscious. It's certainly very good fortune. If you say somebody is born in the Dham, very good fortune. It's a very good birth to be a Dham-vasi from birth. And to leave the body, to die in the Dham is also very good. There are many elderly ladies, widows, they will go to Vrindavan and they will live in the women's ashram and they vow they will never leave Vrindavan. And they want to die, they want to leave their body there in the Dham. So it means a lot to devotees to be in the Dham. And your other point was about the duty. Well, as I said, you don't go to the Dham just by buying the ticket. Srila Prabhupada said he was sitting in New York, but he said, I'm always in Vrindavan because I'm always thinking of Krishna. So although you're not physically in the Dham, you can be spiritually in the Dham by being Krishna conscious. Advaita Acharya said to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, wherever you are, that is the holy place. Lord Chaitanya said, I wanted to go to Vrindavan, they brought me to Shantipur. But Advaita Acharya said, wherever you are, that is the holy place. So you can also be in Vrindavan here by remembering Krishna. Just like Krishna's deity is here, so Krishna is the resident of Vrindavan. And you read the books, you read Srimad Bhagavatam, read about Vrindavan, and chant the holy name. That is all Vrindavan. So you can be in the Dham, although you may be here physically in Chennai, but it can be the holy Dham if you are Krishna conscious. Right? Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Maharaj ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் இதெல்லாம் வந்தது. இப்போ மகாராஜ் வந்து இப்போ for a few minutes வந்து ரொம்ப மகாராஜ் வந்து இருப்பாரு. டிவோட்டிஸ் வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஃபேமிலியாக வந்து மகாராஜ் பார்த்து ஒரு பிளேஸ் பிரசாதம் எடுத்துட்டு போயிடலாம். பிரசாதம் பண்ணலாம். எஸ் எஸ் எஸ். ஸோ சில டிவோட்டிஸ்லாம் வந்து ட்ரெயின் கொஞ்சம் அர்ஜென்ட்டாக பெங்களூர்லேருந்து வந்திருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்குலாம் ஃபஸ்ட்டு ப்ரிஃபரன்ஸ் கொடுக்குறேன். அந்த சமயத்தில்